Hello, viewers, and welcome to my show. Today is another day and lovely, and I hope that many of you are really enjoying your day. Now, today, like I said, we'll be talking about a different new topic. Now, today's topic, we'll be talking about the difference between child abuse and child neglect. But before we get into that, many of you already know me, is your girl Adez. So I will be showing you a video in connection to the topic. So I would like for you all to sit back, relax, and to enjoy the video.
You may have heard about child abuse and neglect. Do you know what they mean? They include acts of commission and omission and are preventable. Child abuse and neglect include acts of commission and omission. What are acts of commission? Acts of commission are deliberate and intentional. However, harm to a child might not be the intended consequence. Some examples include physical abuse, sexual abuse, psychological abuse. What are acts of omission? Acts of omission are the failure to provide for a child's basic physical, emotional, or educational needs, or to protect a child from harm or potential harm. Some examples include physical neglect, emotional neglect, medical and dental neglect, educational neglect, inadequate supervision, exposure to violent environments. About 1 in 7 children experience some form of child abuse or neglect in the last year. But we know the problem is underreported. That's why a consistent definition is so important. The good news is, we can stop child abuse and neglect before it starts. What can we do? We can work together to promote safe, stable, and nurturing relationships and environments so all children reach their full potential. Some strategies to consider include strengthen economic supports to families, change social norms to support parents and positive parenting, provide quality care and education early in life, enhance parenting skills to promote healthy child development, intervene to lessen harms and prevent future risk. These strategies help create families, neighborhoods, and communities where every child thrives.
Wow, wow, wow. That was a very good video. The video was a very good one, and I actually really enjoyed that. And what struck me is like the first one that she mentioned. She mentioned about child admission, about how children are threatened, and so on and so forth. And then another thing that I really like that she said is that we can actually do something to actually stop the abuse before it even starts. And then she mentioned about the child. She mentioned child stability, even helping the parents, supporting them in parenting their child, looking after their child, and also other things that she mentioned about about positive education, the development of a child, their education. So all of that actually, it really touched me, and it actually really helps me a lot, because it's something that I can even actually give some parents some advice on how they can actually support their child, bringing them up, making sure that they meet their every single needs that they need in life, especially their early education from age 2 upwards. And everything that she said is very important. Is actually very important for you to know, and also, and not even just that, to even take note, take note, especially the parents, the mothers and fathers. Please take note, because this is something that you actually need to teach your children, whether if it's one child you have, whether if it's 4 or 5 children that you have. But generally, parents, please, I will actually recommend that you also rewatch this video again, because it's actually really going to help you to raise your children up very well in a positive way. Now, going into the business of today, like I said, we'll be talking about the difference between child abuse and child neglect. So, as we start, now many of us knows what abuse is about, and also which I mentioned in one of my previous videos, that abuse is an act of abuse that can happen anywhere at any time, and which I mentioned the tools that are used to abuse children. And generally, abuse can come in different forms. It can come in different forms: physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, so on and so forth. Now, is a matter of how we look out for those signs. Now, also neglect also is another. Neglect is also another form of abuse. Neglect is a form of abuse where a child's needs is not met, their basic needs is not met. So their basic needs is not met. For example, like their education. Some mothers, I'm not saying all mothers, but some mothers, they neglect their child's education. They don't even bother to help their child to develop their education and grow up in the way that they want their child to grow up. And on the other hand, there are mothers and fathers out there that actually does want their children's education to be good. Now also neglect also is something that where not even just the education, but also their emotional needs are not met, their psychological needs are not met. So so especially when a child is feeling down, when a child is not actually happy, they're not happy with something. For example, maybe they want to go out. They want to go out to the park, and then the parents say no, that you're not allowed. And that kind of thing actually gets the child angry. They'll be so angry. They will be angry with their parents. Why to the park. So because of that, they will get angry throughout that whole day. And even the parents, they'll be wondering what's happening to what is happening to my child, and they won't realize that it's because the child is angry that the parents are saying no, they're not, that the child is not allowed to go to the park. Not even just that, there's various reasons why a child will get angry. The various reasons why a child will get angry, and as time goes on, it breaks the more angry they get, the more it breaks them down, and it breaks them down to the point that they will become isolated. They'll shut everybody out, everybody that they love. They'll shut them out. The child can lock themselves in a room for 3 days or several days, and will refuse to eat, will not even want to do anything, take part in any activities that the parents wants to do with their child. And it will break them down emotionally, physically, mentally. It will make them so angry, and people will notice it. They will actually notice that the child is looking lean. That the child is losing a lot of weight. People will actually notice it, but it is important for you to make your child happy. Make them happy at all times. No matter what, make them happy at all times. Don't make them sad, because you wouldn't want that. You actually wouldn't want them to shut you out. You won't want them to be isolated, because if they break down mentally, if they break down mentally, it will cause problems. It will cause problem, and it will raise concerns, and you wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want that for your child. So now child abuse also is a form that can actually have serious and long-term impact on a child's life. It can cause serious harm, and it can lead to death. You see, if a child thinks about something, if they think about something for a very, very long time, if they break down so much that people actually notice that the child is lean, it can actually destroy a child's life. It can destroy them so much that child will even be causing harm to themselves, and then one day that child can become suicidal, because a lot of children nowadays that are not happy. They're not happy with their life. They're not happy with how life is treating them. That they end up becoming suicidal. They'll be having suicidal thoughts. They will think of killing themselves, ending their life. It leads to so many things. It leads to so many things. Like, for example, when a child is like 14, 15, that they want to experience life. They want to experience life. They want to have a boyfriend, experience what it's like to be in a relationship. And then one day the boy lets that girl down. The boy will let the girl down, and then one day the boy will just abandon that girl, leave the girl. And as a result to that, because the girl was so used to that boy, she never even expected that the boy would just dump her like that. And she will actually take it in. She will take it hard on herself. She will shut everybody out. She'll be stuffing her face, stuffing her mouth with chocolate. She won't eat properly. She won't eat properly. She will shut herself in the room, lock herself away, simply because of a boy. And then one day it really, really get into her. It will get into her physically and mentally, that one day she'll actually decide that she'll pick up a blade and start slitting her wrist. She'll be marking herself, slitting her wrist every time. She'll even think of hanging herself. She would do practically everything just to end her life. And no, it's not. No, it's not. It's not really. It's not a good thing. It's not. Oh, it's not. For a girl to actually be thinking that way just because of a boy, no, it's not good. We need to. We as parents, we need to educate our children. We need to educate our children and let them know about life experiences. We need to let them know the good and the bad. We need to let them know what the consequences of what happens in life when they allow things that is not really meant to bother them so much, especially when it comes to a boy. The parents needs to educate their children to center more on their studies, to center more on things that is educated to them. Even go as far as taking them on trips, taking them to trips, and even if even as they're in school, even as they are in school, and their school takes them on trips, which they always do. They take them on trips to different places, which they use as a project for their assignment or their coursework. So what we need to do, we need to actually educate our children and let them know the consequences of what life throws at them, and also educate them and let the child know that their life is meaningful, and they should not allow anything that will bother them, let alone a boy. They shouldn't allow them to even think of taking their own life. They shouldn't be having suicidal thoughts just because of a boy. It's not right. It will actually have a long-term effect on that child. It will have a long-term effect and break them down mentally, and you wouldn't want that. You would not want that for your child. Now we also be talking. Now we're going to talk now of the four main types of neglect. Now the first is physical neglect. Now physical neglect is not meeting a child's basic needs, such as food, clothing, shelter, so on and so forth. Now this physical neglect, this is what happens every single day, that a child's needs are not met. I mean, take a look at previous children that has actually lost their lives at a young age, simply because the mother and the boyfriend has neglected that child, ignored them. They're not provided for them physically, mentally, not feeding them, not clothing them, not even giving them the secure and safe shelter that they need. And This is actually something that happens. I'll use um Baby P and Victoria Columbia as an example. Those lovely children, that they were full of life. They were full of life, and they were so full of life, and the mother and the boyfriend. I mean, I don't know what happened, what went into them, that they decided to treat those children the way they did. And they mistreated them, ignored Baby P, humiliated him, done everything wrong to that child. They actually offended that child. That child he was so full of life. He didn't An innocent child that didn't do anything, that actually was growing up in a family that he thought that will actually keep him safe before his life was cut short, before he died. Even the same thing with Victoria Columbia. That even that we thought that the fact that the family will keep her safe. I mean, it's no that these are examples that shows these are examples that actually shows that all these children, they get neglected, that they get humiliated, that they are not provided for the way they're supposed to. Their education is been thrown to the window. Then they're not even just that, their personal hygiene, they actually neglect their personal hygiene. They neglect them from having medical care, so on and so forth. This is something that we should never, as parents, this is something we should never ever neglect. It is very, very important for the growth and the safety of our children. We as parents, we need to set an example for our children, so that when our children grow, when they grow into adults, finish university, and eventually decide to settle down and get married, tell me what kind of example do you actually want to set for them? Will it be the example of mistreating them, humiliating them, that at the end of the day, when they actually decide that they want to settle down and get married, they will actually treat their own children that way, simply because of how that child grew up in the hands of the parents. So we need to actually set a good example for our children. We should never ever neglect them in any way or any form. Now the next one is, we also actually, is very important, we need to supervise our children. We need to supervise them in every way. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that all parents don't supervise their child, but I am actually talking about some of the parents that they actually allow their children to do anything they want, or whatever it is that they want. It is very important that we need to supervise them all the time. Supervise them, watch them, and make sure that they are not actually going on sites, or going to places where they're not meant to be. Where they don't cause harm to themselves. And again, we need to actually make sure we actually talk to our child about them keeping themselves safe. Now also we'll be talking about the educational neglect. Educational neglect is not making sure a child receives an education. Now, there are some children out there that they actually don't go to school. They don't go to school at all. I'm not saying all, but some of the parents, they don't even bother to take their children to school. They'll actually keep them in the house, and yet the mother knows quite well that the child needs to be in school. And then if the child doesn't go to school at all, the child will not be able to speak good English. The child's vocabulary is not going to be good at all. The way the child writes is also not going to be very good. So that is why we have to struggle as mothers, as fathers. We have to struggle. We have to struggle to make sure that our child gets the adequate and proper education that they need. Do not ever neglect them from having the education that they deserve. Because them having an education is something that will actually, it will go a long way for them as they grow to young boys and girls. At the end of the day, it's for their betterness. It's for their betterness and the betterness of you as parents. It's for their betterness because they will have a certificate. They'll be able to get a good job, whatever kind of job that they decide that they want to be in life. They will get a good job. It will actually go on their CV as well. Their grades, everything. It will go on their CV. It will go on their CV. It will help them in the long run. It will help them in the long run to be able to secure a good job that will pay them well, that will also support you as parents too. They'll be able to bring enough money to the house. So again, it is very, very important that we should not neglect a child from going to school. The child needs the education. They need to boost their knowledge. They need to boost their metabolism. They need to actually boost their way of thinking. They need to be able to speak English, good English. They need to be able to be good in their vocabulary. They need to be able to write very well. That's why it's important for us to help the child to have the education that they need. Now, the last but not the least, medical neglect. Now, medical neglect is not providing the appropriate health care. For example, dental care, refusing care, or neglecting medical recommendations. Now you see, this is another form of neglect, medical neglect. Not taking the child to the hospital, not keeping an eye on their denture, not taking them for regular dental checkups, ignoring the advice of the hospital, and especially when the hospital, like the doctors or the nurses, gives the parents recommendation on how the child needs to be well taken care of, in terms of their personal hygiene, in terms of keeping them not falling sick, as in advising them on what to give to them if they even fall sick, practically ignoring the advice of the hospital. This is another form of neglect. and it's not good for us. It's not good for us as parents. We need to step up as parents. We need to step up as parents and know that we should not neglect, we should never ever neglect our children from having the medical care that they need. Because should anything happen to that child, if anything happens to that child, it will be on you. It will actually be on you, and you wouldn't want that. So simply what I'm saying, simply in a whole, what I'm saying is that we need to protect our children against child abuse and neglect. We need to also recognize these signs. We need to recognize it even before it starts. We need to recognize it and make sure that we avoid it at all costs. Make sure we avoid it at all costs by following these steps, and especially when the hospital gives recommendation, please follow it up. Make sure that in every area of your child's life, make sure that you meet their every needs. Make sure that they are educated. Make sure that they have a safe and secure shelter. Make sure you keep them out of harm's way. Anywhere that can cause harm to your child, keep them away from there. Always supervise your child in everything that they do. Do you know? It's not that I'm saying that yes, the child they need, sometimes they need their freedom, but at the same time, be wise as parents and supervise them on what they are doing, monitor them on what they're doing. Make sure that they're not doing anything dodgy, not going on sites that is not within their age range. Make sure that you supervise your child, and make sure also that you also monitor their personal hygiene, because that's also another way of neglect. Their personal hygiene, not making sure. So it's very, very important to make sure that all their needs, basically all their needs, are met. Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, so now we've come to the end of the show, but before I end, yes, just like Mr. Jimmy White said, yes, I'll be doing the carers training. So if anyone wants to be a carer, they want to know how to be a carer, yeah, I'll take you through the steps of it. And just like he mentioned earlier, there will be a small fee, but not much. But it's not going to be much. Just £20. £20 is what I will be taking towards the training. So again, if anyone wants to be a carer, they want to know how, and they want to know the steps and to know how to be a carer, feel free, because I'll be coming on Zoom, and I'll definitely give the Zoom ID and password and everything, so that I can do the training. Okay, so yeah, so like I said, the training I'll start it actually. I'll start it like on either on Tuesday or Sunday. That I'll start it, and like I said, it is not much. £20 is £20 only, and it will be an ongoing training. It's not going, the training is not going to be a long training, only just for about 2-3 months. But it's £20 that I will take. Okay, how do we apply? You actually you don't even to apply you don't is not really something that no I'm not really going to take it is actually free of charge. It's free of charge. You only just come on Zoom. Just only come on Zoom. And which I'll give the ID. Okay, when are you going to the orphanage? Um, so like I said, on the 29th, the 29th of April is when I'll start going to the orphanage. Which, like I said, which I've already been doing it for a long time, but the actual date is 29th of April that I will be going to the orphanage. So like I said, you're not going to apply at all. You just come on Zoom, which I'll give the ID number and the password to for the training. So so I hope that I really hope that I've answered your question. So anyway, we've come to the end of the show, and I hope that you've picked up something and is something that will help you as parents to raise your children in a good way, appropriate way that will actually help them to grow in the way that you want them to grow. So anyway, we have actually come to the end of the show. So we are going to continue with another new topic, the same time, the same place, and we're gonna continue it on Sunday too. So I really hope that you enjoyed it, and please don't fail to subscribe, to comment, to like me, share with your friends and your colleague, and as many people as you feel that will benefit from this. Once again, is your girl, Adez. See you all on Sunday. Bye.